Hi everybody, this is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Friday, August the 17th, and welcome to our video commentary. You know, I'm sure all of you have been hearing a great deal about predictions for the upcoming midterm elections in November. They will happen, the elections is less than 90 days away, so it's starting to warm up a little bit, although I'm still not convinced that most Americans get into it until after Labor Day and probably mid-October is when they really get into the elections. But nevertheless, there's three kinds of predictions that we see almost on a daily basis. You've got the historical prediction saying that the president always loses seats in his first election, and that's actually true. If you look at most of the history, President Obama, for example, had a bad night on 2010. He lost like 60 seats in the House. President Bush didn't have a problem in 2002. I think he picked up a few seats. And then President Clinton had another very bad night in 1994, and so on. You can go back throughout history and pretty much see that presidents usually lose a few seats, not necessarily control of the chamber, but they do lose seats in the first election. So that's a prediction that you always hear. People say, well, it always happens, therefore it's going to happen again. I think that, we have to be cautious with that because sometimes history repeats itself until it doesn't. So we will see. We will see if history repeats itself in 2018. Then we look at the Democrat predictions, and their predictions, of course, are based on a blue wave, meaning that there's all this enthusiasm and that they're turning out to vote in huge numbers. In some states they have, like in Minnesota, they had a big turnout. But in other primaries, the turnout has been pretty even between both sides. So it's hard to say enthusiasm one way or the other. And then you have the Republican prediction, and that basically says, well, the economy is doing so well, therefore people will not want to change horses in midstream, as the expression goes. The reality is that nobody really knows what's going to happen. And part of the reason is, as I mentioned before, a lot of the public is not really as engaged. The partisans are very engaged, of course, but a lot of the public really isn't. And they're the ones who are going to decide the election. Now, there is one measurement that people keep an eye on, more objective measurement, and that is what they like to call the generic vote. And here in the last month or so, that's become very tight between Democrats and Republicans. At one time, the Democrats had a big lead, then it dropped, then it went up to maybe 7 or 8, but right now it appears to be between 3 and 4, pretty close to the margin of error. So what's going to happen in November? I don't know. And frankly, I don't think anybody does either. My recommendation is don't get too hung up on predictions and just go out and vote. Really, that's the only thing you can control is your vote. Get out and vote. Now, I'll say it again. Midterm elections are based on turnout. I think we've seen that over the years. So whatever party turns out, that party is going to have a bigger night. If the Republicans turn out, they will hold on to the House and pick up a few Senate seats. If the Democrats turn out in larger numbers, it's very likely that they will win the House. The Senate, I don't know. That's a little bit more complicated, but clearly the House they will pick up. What's going to happen? I don't know. Remember that song by Chicago, Does Anybody Really Know What Time It Is? Honestly, does anybody really know what's going to happen in November? I don't think so. I think it's too early, and we have to wait probably more until Labor Day or maybe the middle of September or so to begin to see some tangible evidence one way or the other. Thank you for watching. We have all of these over at YouTube. We have them on Twitter, and we have them on my blog. And if today is your birthday, if August 17th is your birthday, have a nice weekend, everybody. Happy birthday. Bye-bye.